Hello, it's me again, Wolfram Kreis from the European Mainframe Academy. And in this video clip I want to talk about DB2, especially the DB2 version running on COS, the most important operating system running on IBM mainframes. We have different components comprising DB2. The first component to mention is database services. It's something like the database management environment within DB2. So all SQL requests coming in are executed within this database services component. And if you define, as example, a new object, the object is cataloged in a catalog. We have some default databases managed by this component to manage such a DB2 environment. We have the system services component. This is responsible and managing the recoveries of in case of database failures and so on. So logging and the so-called bootstrap dataset is very important to manage such an environment. We have the third component. It's the internal resource log manager, managing logs to prevent concurrent updates to the same data from different database management systems. And for communication between different database management systems, we have a fourth component called distributed data facility. Each of these components is managed by an address space within such a COS environment. So we have an address space for the database services. It's called DBM1. We have another starter task, an address space managing the recovery environment. It's called the MSTR. We have the third address space controlling the logs. It's the IRLM, the Internal Resource Log Manager address space, and we have the address space controlling the distributed data facility. These are again these four address spaces you can find in each and every database system, maybe with different names, but the MSTR, the DBM1, the IRLM and DDF are mostly part of the starter task name. So you can locate it in each and every COS environment where DB2 is running. Already mentioned, we have some system databases. As example, we have a Db2 catalog, and the Db2 catalog is nothing more than different tables where all the objects are managed, though the Db2 catalog is by itself a database containing all the information about objects defined in a Db2 environment. We have a Db2 directory where some more information is managed. As example, application plans and packages, information about tablespace recovery and other information. We have a default database for testing in education. It is taken if you don't specify your own database when setting up some tables. And there's a temporary database, DSN DB07, because some SQL instructions need temporary storage for intermediate information. We have Db2 Objects to define, and these must be defined before we work with such a Db2 environment. So the first thing we need is a so-called storage group. It's a list of volumes that are able to manage such a database environment. When we have a storage group, we can define a database. So in a database management system, we can have different databases. Within a database, we define a table space for a space for all the tables, how the name already states. And within this table space afterwards we can define tables. And there are some additional optional objects. This can be indexes for better performance. It can be views for giving certain users just a subset of the whole database environment. And synonym is something like an alias definition. As example, storage group, I just said, contains a list of devices that are used as containers for such an environment. And here is just an example on how to set up such a storage group. Data class management class storage class has something to do with storage management. So in this case, you can define certain classes. It's a interface to storage management. Then we need a database. Here is the command syntax of creating such a database. You refer to the storage group that's already that has to be defined before we create a database. You define some buffer pools and other information. Tablespace, in this case, we create a tablespace, say in which database we want to have this tablespace and which storage group to be used. And last but not least, we create a table. Don't go into details with this syntax. This is quite normal SQL, and if you know SQL, I think you can understand how this command syntax has to be interpreted. Okay, this was the short introduction to Db2 and especially Db2 on COS. As always, if you have any questions or remarks, please use the discussion forum on the OpenHPI platform. Thanks a lot for attending and see you in the next video clip.